Hello, everyone. This is Brandon Craig, Vice President of Sales with Southern Plus. Welcome to our webinar this morning. My hope is to show you something that Southern Plus can provide you in the way of technology that you didn't know was available to you today. So to get us on the same page, if you're looking at my screen, you'll see the categories of products that Southern Plus brings to the promotional products market and that you could promote on our behalf. It's not uncommon for distributors like yourself to have perhaps sold a bag of ours, because bags are quite prevalent in the industry, or perhaps an umbrella, and then think of us as a bag company or an umbrella company going forth. And I want to challenge each of you to think of us in a broader sense, to think of us as outdoor, recreational, and leisure. Why? First of all, there's not a single customer that you'll ever call on that don't promote to people that don't do things outdoors, recreationally, or in their leisure. Everybody does. It's got universal appeal. And I will tell you that that's also where people's passion are, or their passion is in that space. And if you put a logo on something that supports a person's passion, you've connected that brand at the heart level. And that's what every brand would love to do. They don't always know that, and they don't always know how to do it. But hopefully at the conclusion of our seminar today, our webinar, you will be able to position their brand in that very way for them. It's not uncommon for you today to steer your client, or your client to steer you towards a work level promotion, B2B. That's naturally where two businesses collide. And if that's the case, things often end up on the desktop. They end up maybe in the briefcase or purse, or maybe in the car, because those are the work zones. But I will caution you that 85% of us view those as negative spaces. And if you put a logoed item in a negative space, you're actually getting desensitized to that brand, not drawn to it. And I think you can think of examples of that. I know I have some on my desktop right now. In fact, I drink out of a cup almost every single day. And if you were to ask me when I was away from my desk what that logo was, I would not be able to tell you. Why? Because I've tuned that out. It's not important to me. The mug is important, and drinking my coffee out of it is important, but what it says on it is not important. So contrary to that, I also have 6 children that grew up playing virtually every sport in school and in club and so forth. So I spent virtually every weekend in my favorite chair on the sidelines of some ball field, watching my kids play their favorite sport. And that was my happy place. It was long before I worked for this company. It wasn't one of our chairs, unfortunately. I don't even recall where I got it. But what I do recall is it said on the back of that chair, Sony. Why is that important? Because today, every time I shop electronics, 9 out of 10 times I come out of the store with a Sony item. And I never really understood why I had an affinity for that brand, because there's a lot of great electronic brands. But as I told these stories and came up with examples of this, it made me realize that the reason that I have an affinity for that brand is they supported me doing what I love. Well, what I loved was watching my kids play sports, and their name was on the back of that chair. So now I have an affinity for that brand. And I'll bet you, if you thought about what it is that you are passionate about, what you absolutely love to do outside of work, and then ask yourself, do I have any promotional items that support me in that endeavor? I will show you a company or companies that you have an affinity for, and maybe you didn't know why. It's because their brand is supporting you doing what you love. So hopefully that will help you position these types of products more favorably. And the way you bring it all home with your clients is you tell them how many more eyes will get to see an item such as these versus an item that's on a desktop or in a briefcase or in a car. That limits them to potentially 2 eyes or 2 sets of eyes potentially at most. This opens it up to a universal of people to see that. It's a mobile billboard. And then you start talking about brand impressions and return on investment. And I think that'll make a lot more sense. You'll see the light bulb go on their head. Now, quick checklist of items. I feel it's important that you understand some of the differences that Southern Plus brings to the table from other suppliers that are out there. We've been in business over 50 years. There's very few suppliers today that can make that claim. In fact, there's less than 2 handfuls, which puts us in a pretty elite category of suppliers. What it really means is we've been doing it a long time and we're good at what we do. We get measured in this industry by customer service awards. We're A+ and 5-star rated. We always have been. We always will be. We work very hard for that. We have very low minimums, which will help you when you're trying to source products and having a difficult time doing because of minimums. Most of our products have either a 36 or 50-piece minimum, depending upon the category and the price point. We also have very competitive pricing. While most people that see our products tangibly in a show or holding samples, they look at them and they think, ooh, nice, upscale, retail, good quality, these are expensive items. Many times your client doesn't want to spend money on an expensive item. But I will tell you, out of 260 total products that we bring to market, I have over 100 under $5. So don't assume the fact that you're seeing a very nice upscale product that it's an expensive one. I think you'll find otherwise. Also, I'm not the manager of the sales prevention department. I'm the manager of a sales department. So if there's an opportunity where you have a like product to our own that's potentially at a lesser price, I would love the opportunity to meet or beat that price before you submit an order to some other supplier. I'd love for you to get in the habit of doing business with Southern Plus so that we could grow our business together and our partnership. We have very fast turnaround times. We say 5 to 7 days, though we rarely take that long. It really just depends on what's going on in the facility at the time. But I do have 32 items that are on next day ship, or we have the ability to ship the following day, that will help bridge the gap for those customers that didn't go to customer school and realize they've got to give you lead times. We do have products that will speed that along. Again, I talked about our quality. I think you won't find better quality in our price points in the industry. We do color exceptionally well. Not only do we have a lot of colors in our line, but we have a lot of items in those colors, and that's beneficial if you are doing e-stores or program business or continuity gifting. We do all of those things very well. But the thing that differentiates us the most from other suppliers that you can partner with is our technology. We won Best Website in the Industry for the second time, doing some things online that no one else in the world is doing. And I truly think it's going to be a game changer for you. So that's where I want to go from here. If you're like most distributors, your biggest challenge is your time. The detail work that goes into doing business in this industry is overwhelming for most people. I call it the administrative minutia, and it's like a vortex that literally sucks you in, and it can move you from a sales rep to an admin so fast your head will spin. And it's really easy to get caught there, or even to get comfortable there. And what happens when you get that kind of busy, the first thing that wanes or disappears altogether is proactivity. You're unable to proactively seek your clients or prospects in a way that you'd like to. You become a slave to your inbox, becoming reactive, if you will, and managing the flow of things out of your inbox. And that's a dangerous thing when you're earning a living on commission. At some point in time, if that's the case and you remain there for a while, your funnel will run dry and you've got to start all over again. So I believe that the industry actually looks like this today. Inboxes overflowing, work piling up, running around like a chicken with her head cut off. But I know that none of you can work any harder, but I promise you can work smarter. And I'm going to show you some ways that Southern Plus can help you do just that, doing your normal business, but just supporting us a little bit more. And I'm going to jump over to our website. And if you have not been there before, this is what it looks like. It's intentionally simple, yet there's a lot going on the screen. That's by design. We want to be able to help you get where you want to go as quickly as possible. Just to get you familiar with the screen, you're going to see a banner changing as you sit and watch it. That's by design as well. We know we have 5 to 8 seconds to show you something maybe you didn't know we did, or connect the dots with something you might be working on with a client. If you ever have 2 or 3 minutes, I'd encourage you to sit there and watch all of our banners go by. And again, it will enlighten you with some things that you didn't know you could promote through Southern Plus. Down here is all of our new items. Now, the good news is if you haven't sold much of Southern Plus or haven't partnered with us before, everything is new to you and to your client. And that's a great thing. Over time, if you use these tools, and I'm sure you will, you're going to have great success with Southern Plus. And at some point in time, you're going to say, Brandon, I've showed a lot of your products to a lot of my clients. I'm just going to focus on the new items, because I know I haven't seen them and I know my clients haven't seen them as well. So you could isolate those new items here on this by clicking on this area. This center area, as you can see by the label, this is where our 24-hour items or our next day ship items are, all 32 of them. So if you wanted to promote those, you could click there and see what those are. I would recommend that you get familiar with those anyway. I would always check here. This is where we put our product of the month. We always feature a product in this space off price, and I would check it every time you're on our site. We may just show you an item that that you could sell very successfully to a client or more. It gives you the opportunity to stretch margins if that's important to you at that time, or to get your customer to place a quick order because you're going to save them some money. So always check that product of the month as well. But over here's where the meat and potatoes of our site are, and this is where I'm really going to hang out for the balance of this time. This is where our marketing tools are and so forth. And I'm going to start with this first one. If you click on View or Send Catalog, which is that second button that's there, it's going to bring up 3 different digital catalog options. I don't know what your experience are with sending digital catalogs to a client, but basically it's circumventing having to hand them or mail them or deliver to them a paper catalog. You can do it virtually instantly, and it's absolutely free. The industry standard, if you will, is called a Zoom catalog, and we have a Zoom catalog here. So if you clicked on this one, it would open up a Zoom catalog, which is an exact digital replica of our paper catalog, and it enables your client to turn the pages just like they would if they were holding the book. So it should be very familiar to them. This is our Zoom custom catalog, which enables you to customize that Zoom catalog in a way that we've stripped all of the Southern Plus references out of it so that it looks like a very generic catalog. It gives you the ability to add your logo to the cover, and you can even, once you've customized it, whether you email it to your clients that way or whether you embed it on your website, either way, it's a great way to use a digital catalog. But this one is a very unique one, and it's one I want to feature now. It's called our Interactive Catalogo. This is one that I don't think you've seen before. It looks very similar to a Zoom catalog in appearance, but it behaves very differently. It has a feature that the others do not, and I think it's one that you'll find very valuable. So it's loading right now, and as it loads up, you'll see there's 2 buttons at the top of this digital catalog. The first one says Upload Logo. If I click on that button, I can go browse for any graphic formatted logo I can find. It could be a PNG or a JPEG or a EPS or an AI. It doesn't have to be vector, but it certainly can be. Any properly saved logo will work. Here's one that I think you'll be familiar with. I click on Open, Upload, and once I see it there, I say Done. And in that amount of time, this logo is now on every single item in this catalog, and now you can email it to your client or prospect. It's an extremely powerful tool, and it's something that your client will have never seen before from you, or most likely from anybody else. I challenge you, each one of you, to use this tool to shake the trees and get low-hanging fruit to fall. It's a wonderful way to not only wow the customers that you have, but also to open new doors of prospects. I don't know how many times you may have visited a distributor, or excuse me, an end user as the distributor, and knowing that they've got someone else that they're partnering with. And many times they'll say, well, I'm dealing with Sue Ellen here from another company. We're very happy. She does a great job. She supports us well. And it's the old, if it ain't broke, don't fix it mentality. So you leave there frustrated because you'd really love to have their business, but you know that unless Sue Ellen gets hit by a bus, you just don't have a chance of penetrating that account unless you can show something that Sue Ellen can't do. And here is a tool that can do just that. Those are the perfect accounts, the ones that you've gone in and they wouldn't give you an opportunity because they were happy to send this to that client. Suddenly they look at Sue Ellen a little differently. They start saying, Sue Ellen isn't doing things like this for me. Perhaps you should come in and tell me what else you can do for me that Sue Ellen can't. More and more distributors are telling me, Brandon, I get into more prospective accounts using this tool than anything else. So I encourage you to try it. Let me show you what it looks like. The first time you do this, you're going to think you did something wrong because you'll turn the page and you're looking for that logo on every item and you don't find it. First thing I need to explain is originally I had it on these static products and I had a number of challenges with that. The first challenge that I had is I can't upload a partial logo, which I'd have to do on an item like this one perhaps, or maybe this one in the background or this one as well. So that was strike one. Strike two was if you sent this to a client and they happen to be an account that gravitates towards the color red, for instance, or that's their branded or logo color, they might get to a page like this and this becomes a source of frustration because they can't see their brand on the red item and that's the one they're interested in, or perhaps the same with this one or this one as well. So that was strike two. Strike three is you're sending these to clients that see their logo on all kinds of things all the time, and it's really hard to wow them with just a static image of a product. In fact, most people, if you sent this that way, they'd get to about page 3 and they'd say, cool, a bunch of bags with my logo on it. I'm really busy. I'll look at it later, and they'd set it aside, and it really made no impact for you or me. So I went back to the drawing board and I said, how can I make this truly a wow moment for your customer? How can I make it something that they've never seen before? And by removing the logo and making it interactive, it was a breakthrough for us. So when you send this to a client or prospect, you're going to tell them, click on any item that you find interesting, but don't tell them why. So as they're flipping through, maybe they see something like this bag and they say, ooh, I like this. This is interesting. Let me click on it. What's going to happen? And when they do, it opens it up like this and they go, wait a minute, that's my logo. How did that get on there? They're thinking, did I just do that by clicking on it? Or maybe I bought this from them before. No, I didn't buy this from them before because I do all the buying, and that's why I clicked on it. I've never seen this bag. And so they're going through this whole mystery solving process in their mind, and they're completely intrigued and riveted to this. They look at it and say, okay, I do love this bag. That's why I clicked on it, but this is certainly not the color that I'd want to see this bag in. And if they look up above, they see a tab that says colors and styles. And if they click on that, they can view every color that that product comes in. And if they click on the color that they like, it'll automatically update to that color. And they're going, oh, now see, this is absolutely amazing. Now this looks great. This is in my branding guidelines. But you know, I think it would look even better if I could match this trim color. I wonder if that's possible. And now that they're playing with this, they're really exploring. They see imprint technique. And when they click on that, it pulls up a different palette of options for every product that they could view, depending upon the trim color of that particular product. So in this case, they could hover over each one of these until they find what they're looking for. If they like this color, for instance, they can click on it and they can say, all right, that's it. I love this imprint color on this particular bag in this color. And they click on Save Send. They could just save it as an image if they wished. But typically it pops up a screen that automatically has your email in the to field if you sent them this catalog. This product, exactly as you see it, is embedded in the body of that email, and all they have to do is say who it's from, and they could say, this is the perfect bag for the project we've been talking about. Can you get me a sample of this so I can touch and feel it and make a final decision? Or else they can say, this is it, I absolutely love it, this is my proof. I need 300 of these by August 15, here's my PO number, and you're done. So it's a new way to interact with customers. I guarantee you they're going to have a lot of fun doing it. They'll tell you that they can play on this all day. And I can tell you if you deliver something to them that they can play in all day, it's going to bode very well for you. I like to say it's sort of like letting them behind the curtain of the Wizard of Oz. You're showing them things and allowing them to do things that they don't typically get to do. Interacting with virtual samples sort of offloads some of that load from yourself. It also gives them a great joy to be able to create on their own without pressure and so forth. I will tell you that we maximize every logo to the imprint space. We skew them properly and make them look exactly as they would if we produced them. We also avoid showing them any options or any way they can't change the size of that logo, for instance, so they could never view it in a way that we can't produce it. So it takes all of the risk out of it for you and me. So typically when you send this to somebody, they click on an item, they see it, and they play around a little bit. They'll click on a second item, testing it, and they go, oh my God, look, that logo's on that one as well. They click on a third item, and when they see that the logo's literally on every single item in this catalog, that's when they pick up the phone and call you. And they say, how in the hell did you do this? This is really cool. It's a great reaction. It's one that you can be assured that they're going to do. It's just a matter of when. It might take 5 minutes after you send it because they click on that third item, or it might take a couple of hours after they've whiled away 2 hours playing in this catalog. They'll give you a call and say, wow, I can't believe it. I've just spent 2 hours in this catalog. You can't stop using it. It's so much fun. But it also made me realize I've got a Relay for Life event coming up. Let's talk about that. So now you have a project on the board and an excited customer ready to share some ideas with. So typically what you do, you would come back to the cover of this once you've uploaded the logo. And the only other thing that you need to do to send the catalog is to click on this button that says Email VCAT. When you click on that, it's going to bring up a form that you would typically fill out in its entirety, saying who it's from, who it's to, a subject, and a message. But I'm going to ask you to do something differently. I'm going to ask you to just say it's from me to me and send it to your own inbox, to your own email, and then forward it out of there. You can ignore these two fields here, but make sure you fill them out in your inbox before you send it to the client. This message is absolutely critical. If you don't get that right, you're not going to get the kind of results that you will want from this. And I will give you an example of what that could say. You could say, we've come across a supplier catalog full of fun and exciting things, and I immediately thought of you. It's kind of a neat offhanded compliment that you could say to somebody that you know well or you've been doing business with for years. If they're a prospect, obviously that wouldn't work. You would say, I immediately thought of, and the brand name or the company name. The next thing you want to say is, click on this link and it's going to open a digital catalog. You want them to know exactly what's going to happen, which will demystify that link. Many times people get freaked out by links and you want them to be comfortable with clicking on it. The last thing you want to do is say, click on any item you find interesting, and I'd even put in parentheses there, and you're going to find a lot of them. Now you're almost taunting them, you're almost daring them not to look. And then you finish it with, for an added surprise, or to see the magic happen. You don't want to mention logo or give them any tip as to what they're going to see. And I promise you, it's going to create a great deal of excitement, a call to action. They're going to feel good about you and about themselves, and they're going to do what you ask. And once they click on an item, they're like a fish on a hook, and you're just reeling them in. So it's really, really simple. I encourage you to use it. In fact, I would challenge each one of you to take my personal challenge, which is to send 10 of these out each week for 4 straight weeks and watch what happens. If it takes you about 30 seconds to upload a logo and send it out, and I'm going to provide you as a follow-up the language that I just shared with you, so you can even copy and paste it. So you could take about 30 seconds to a minute to send a single one of these. If you sent out 10 in 1 week, and I would recommend doing them all at once, schedule 5 or 10 minutes just for Southern Plus and send those out. I will personally guarantee at the end of that month, you'll never have more projects in your funnel, in your career, and it will have taken you absolutely no time to do it. It helps you be proactive when you just don't have the time to be. It shakes the trees and gets fruit to fall. So now that you know that you can send these, your inclination would be, if somebody mentioned the word umbrella or beach or resort, something that made you think of Southern Plus, you'd go, Southern Plus has stuff like that. Let me send them a catalog. And I'll tell you that that's not the time to do it. That's like giving somebody a general response to a specific need. And I think that dilutes the wow factor some. So this is tailor-made for if your customer hasn't heard anything from you in a while, or they're not expecting a thing from you, to send it out there again just to shake the trees. If they want something specific, you don't want to give them something general like an entire catalog. What you want to do there is you want to come back to our homepage, and I'll bounce back there now. And now you're going to prepare some sort of presentation that's much more specific than our entire catalog. And you begin that presentation by adding a logo to everything. And you'll see this button here at the top. So when you click on Add Logo to Everything, you can, again, go browse for that same graphic formatted logo. Doesn't matter what format it's in. I'll grab the same one. In this case, say Open, Upload, and Close. And now, instead of uploading that logo to our catalog, you've now uploaded that logo to our entire website. So now as you begin to look for ideas and put together a presentation, everything is already in virtual. So let me show you what that looks like. If you were going to look for products, you could come here to our products tab and look this way. But you could do what I would typically do, and that is if you come to this tab, which is our search bar, if you will, it's a really powerful tool, and you can search by category if that's what they gave you, or you can search by color, or if they only gave you a budget that they're looking for, maybe they're looking for items under $5, you could search by price. Maybe they gave you features of a product that they're looking for. Maybe they say, I'm looking for a zippered bag. You can click on Key Feature, Bags, Zippers, and everything with a zipper comes up. Or a chair with 2 drink holders, or an umbrella with a hook handle, things like that. But for the sake of demonstration, I'm going to start with color. If I click on color here, and I uploaded Dasani's brand, or Dasani's logo, and I knew their branded color was Royal, this brings up a dynamic pull down of all of our colors. I go and select Royal, and I click on Search. And almost instantly, everything that we make in royal blue comes to the screen. And in this case, that's 13 pages worth, or about 150 products ready to go in virtual. Now, I'll ask you a rhetorical question. When was the last time you sent 150 virtuals to an account? And I'll answer it for you. I know you never have, because it would take you a week to prepare in a traditional sense, and nobody has that kind of time. But if it took you a couple of seconds, my next question is why wouldn't you? So let me show you what it looks like if you wanted to send all 150 of these royal blue items to your client. All you have to do is come up here where it says email or create flyer. They both do roughly the same thing. Email is a little more automatic, and it creates the PDF after filling out a quick form, and it attaches it to the email and sends it automatically. Create flyer is a little more manual. Well, that doesn't sound more pleasing. I will tell you, if you're going to send this many items, I would bring it to your screen first and review it before you send it, because we're making decisions on imprint colors that are based on product and trim colors, not on branding guidelines. So I would encourage you to check us and make sure that we don't get some of these imprint defaults correctly. So you can start with create flyer, and you go through and you say, what do I want to include in my presentation? I want to include pricing, so you put a check next to include pricing. You don't have to check include price codes. That way they don't have to see a code that makes them question you more as to what that means. You can put an item number on there, and I would encourage it if you're going to send this many items. You also can include a hyperlink. And again, I would encourage you to do that if you don't want to answer questions on 150 products. They literally can click on any one of those items and get whatever questions answered all on their own. You want to put your company information in, and the first time you do this on your computer, these will all be blank. And then you go through and put your company name, your name, phone number, email, and then click save, and you never have to do that again. So when you check it in the future, that will be included in your presentation. And then you can also add a message. And this can be unique to every single presentation you do, or it can be boilerplate that you attach to every one of them. In this case, you could say, if you used a hyperlink, as I showed you earlier, you could say, click on any image to learn more about the details and specifications of the products. That helps tell them exactly what they need to do in order to get the questions answered. And you save that, and until you change it, it will remain that way. And then you click go, and it's going to create a file that looks like this. And you tell me, if you sent this to a buyer, would they think you spent a little bit of time on it? In fact, I'll show it to you in full screen mode so we can get through all 13 pages of it, but it's a pretty impressive collection of products. And again, your customer will think that you spent a week on it, and that's not a bad perception for them to have. In fact, the guilt factor alone will create some orders for you. They'll say, oh my God, Phil must have spent a week on this. If I don't place an order with him, he's going to kill me. So it really does work, and I encourage you to do it, but don't do it a second time with that customer. The second time it's a little off-putting. They would say, I'm very impressed that you spent all this time preparing this for me, but I don't have time to go through 150. And of course you would know that. So the second time you would do it, you would come back, and if you were starting with royal blue, for instance, you could uncheck them, and you could go through and say, okay, I'm going to show them this one, I'm going to show them this one, and you could pick and choose the ones that you wanted to include in your presentation. But with 13 pages worth or 150 to start with, I would say that you should leave them all checked. And a quicker way to do it, and the way I would do it, is to come to Refine Search. When you click on Refine Search with all of them selected, you can say, all right, in this particular project, I know that the client mentioned coolers for this project, and I'd click on category coolers, and they gave me a budget of $10 to $20. And so I go to price and say $10 to $20 and then search. And that would immediately take me from 150 to 5 that are exactly what they need to see. Now, I do see one particular problem. I see that there's an issue with this one right here because it has a black imprint. It's not an issue for me, and it's probably not an issue for you, but if you sent this to Dasani, they would correct you and say, this is not my brand. You cannot show me a black Dasani on a blue background. That's not our brand. So if you know those things, and I'm sure you do with your clients, you come down below here before you send it, and you would catch that, and you would say, okay, I'm going to change this logo to white, and you're done. And you could even come here and say, well, this is in their branding guidelines, and it looks perfectly fine. It's a little hard to see. I'm going to make it pop a little more, and I'm going to change that one to white. So now you got it looking exactly the way you want, and now you create your flyer. So I'm going to ask you now, if I were to send you to your desks and say, I need you to create a presentation. It's got to be for 4 to 6 coolers. They've got to be royal blue. They've got to be between $10 and $20. And you got to put Dasani's brand on every single one of them. Not using our website, but using whatever traditional sense. I want you to answer, how long would it take you to prepare a presentation like that and send it to your client? So I'm going to put a polling question on the screen, and I want you to take a moment and vote in, if you will, how long it would take you. I'll give you just a moment to respond. And good. Looks like all of you said about 2 hours. So that means you're really pretty graphically savvy, and that's a great thing. I will tell you that is the industry norm, is about 2 hours for a project like this. And typically that's what your inbox is absolutely full of right now. That's what you do. You talk with customers. They give you an indication what they're looking for. You source products. You put together presentations and storyboards, and you throw them against the wall and see what sticks. So if it takes you a couple of hours to do something like that, and you've got an inbox full of them, and it only takes you 1 minute to do it on Southern Plus's site, you can do the math and say, look, if I just did 4 of these on Southern Plus's site, I just bought 8 hours of time or an entire day back this week. And you can do that every week if you want to continue to support and promote Southern Plus. So that's when things start getting really interesting, is when you can save an entire day that week. Now I want to show you another way that you can search on our site that you'll use equally as often. Many times your client will say, I'm looking for ideas for, and they fill in the blank. Maybe they say, I'm doing a sales meeting in a resort destination. Give me ideas for that. Or I'm doing a charity golf event. Give me ideas for that. Well, let's just assume that Dasani is asking for one of those things, and I've already uploaded their logo. I can then come to our site and say ideas by use or theme. And when you click on that, every way that you can use an outdoor recreational or leisure product that we've thought of, we've come up with these categories that narrows your search significantly on products that pertain to that event. So if they said beach resort, we've got that. Or if they said golf, we've got that. You just click on any one of these categories. In this case, I click on golf, and everything for golf comes up on the screen. In this case, it's in random color assortment, and that might be the way you want to present it or the way they want to see it. Or you could say, you know, I happen to know that this is a men's tournament and it's not for breast cancer awareness, so I probably don't want to show pink. So you could come here and underneath the thumbnail, you could click on color and select a color that you think might be more suitable and might make a nice selection. Or you could do what I would do, and you could come up here and just refine the search while you're in this golf area and say, I'm going to refine the search to only royal golf items. So when you click on royal blue as the color, everything in golf, for golf, in royal blue comes to the screen automatically. And now when you create your flyer in this themed area, you have an extra feature, an extra option that you can check. And when you check flyer header, which is right here, I know that's kind of small on your screen, but when you check flyer header and say go, it's going to create a file that looks like this. And so now that pretty little picture is going to be at the top of your presentation. And in my opinion, the difference in this industry is in the details. And that's a detail that your client will appreciate and think you spent extra time doing when all you did was click on a checkbox to include it. And again, that will take you no time at all to do. You could even send it to them while you're on the phone and they're giving you all the criteria for the golf tournament, but I wouldn't recommend that because they would want that kind of service on everything that you can do for them. And unless you're supporting Southern Plus, you won't be able to provide them that kind of service. So I would recommend you sit on it till the end of the day or send it the following day and make them think that's how much time you spent on it, which is typical for you in your current method, I think. But it actually took you less than a minute on our site. And then finally, there's one other way that you might interact with our site. Maybe you just want to send a single item. You don't want to do an elaborate presentation. You don't want to send a catalog. You just want to promote one single item. Maybe you're also promoting items from other suppliers. Maybe you're doing drinkware as well. Maybe you're doing a writing instrument, maybe an apparel item, and maybe one of the things that they wanted to see or you felt that they needed to see was a lunch cooler, for instance. You could come and select a lunch cooler. Maybe it's this one here. When you come to the details page of this product, you can select the color that you want to promote. And if this is the branded color that you want to show, these are live JPEGs. So you can right click, you can copy and paste, you can drag and drop it into another product, another email, or you can into a PowerPoint, for instance. But what I think you'll do more times than not on this details page is create a sell sheet. If you're only promoting a single item, if you click on sell sheet, which is right underneath the main image of the product, and then you say, I want to put pricing on there by checking that. I want to put an item number on there by checking that. You put your company info, which we've already saved. You also can put your logo, which we could upload. I don't know what logo I've got uploaded, but let's see. And then we decide, are we using ESP or Sage? Depending upon which of these you use, I think the majority of you, if not all of you, would use Sage. You check which format you would do your others in, and you say go. And it's going to create a one-page Sage formatted sell sheet that should look just like all the others that you're preparing within Sage, for instance, and you can see your logo at the upper left. You can see your contact information at the right, your product information, and you're good to go. So this can save you up to 10, 15 minutes just by doing our products on our site and the rest within the Sage product or ESP. You certainly can do our products there as well. It's completely up to you, but that's part of working smarter, is where can I shave off minutes of my day and not squander time where I don't need to be. So whether you're sending a single item like I just showed you on a sell sheet, whether you're sending multiple items like 5 coolers or 150 royal blue items, or whether you're sending this entire catalog, everything that I just showed you will take you less than 1 minute on our site. So it really comes down to what is your time worth and where might you be squandering it where you don't really need to be. I know that I showed you a lot of information. I don't expect you to remember it necessarily, but in order to get you started, you can go to our menu system where it says information at the top. You can say how-to instructions. And every single thing that I just showed you, step by step, screen by screen, there's a tutorial that will take you by the hand and lead you through the process. You also have my contact information, so don't hesitate to contact myself or anyone in our customer service department if you have any challenges with our technology or with a tricky logo or anything like that. I greatly appreciate your time and attention today, and I certainly appreciate your continued support. I hope we can grow our businesses successfully together in the future. Thank you for your time and attention. Goodbye.